Hello. Good evening. I'm assuming I'm on, or at least on enough. Okay. It's 7. We're going to try to start as close to 7 as we can tonight. But thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it. Maybe we'll get some more stragglers in. I don't know. I know 7 o'clock is kind of a strange start time, but it was my idea. So this is really exciting for me to be here for basically the second year, and I'm hoping to come back again. Mr. Kevin has been very gracious and just allowing me to come and perform here. So this year, I brought some friends. You should have with you a program and then also the song texts. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the program tonight, and then once we start, we're just going to roll through, and we'll see you on the other side. And just on that note, we're not going to do an intermission tonight, but we will take probably a few minutes longer before the very last piece to come out. So if you have to just make a real quick dash to the restroom, you might have time then. So, all right. So tonight I'm doing a couple pieces with Christoph, which you've got his biography there, but a couple pieces with cello, a couple pieces with my singer friend Emily. They're both amazing. You'll see soon why I chose to perform with them. And this is what I do most of the time, is play with other people. Last year when I was here, I did a solo piano concert, which is very rare for me. So this is what I do most of the time, and it's wonderful. It's my favorite thing is to play music with other people. And now that we've been doing this music for several weeks, and we've performed it at a couple homes recently, this is our first bigger public event. But now that we've done this music a few times, it's really just starting to feel different. Playing chamber music, which is another word for small ensemble music, there's just a special connection that develops between the musicians. There's a lot of trust involved, and it's starting to be really interesting. This is the first time I've been able to do multiple performances of music like this. So Christoph and I will sometimes, in the moment, kind of surprise each other, throw each other for loops in the moment, and so things like that can be really exciting. The 2 cello pieces we're doing tonight are the first piece, which is by Debussy. Debussy is the composer who was really famous for Clair de Lune. So if you've heard anything by Debussy, you've probably heard that piece. So he wrote a few instrumental sonatas towards the end of his life. He was going to write 6 for different combinations of instruments, and he only made it through about 3 of them before he passed. And the cello sonata is one of those. It's very different from Clair de Lune, so you'll get to hear another side of Debussy. The other thing about chamber music, and you can kind of hear it in the title, is it's really for small spaces. It's like an intimate form of music, unlike having an orchestra or a huge, large group like that. And so if you guys would like to scoot up at any point, feel free. Because we'll be playing, especially, in this first piece, Christoph has all kinds of cool things he does on the cello, some like pizzicatos where he just plucks it and it's really soft and it kind of causes you to lean in. So we're doing this sonata, which is 3 movements, but it's a relatively short sonata. It's about 15 minutes or so. Then the other piece I'm doing with Christoph alone is the Martineau Variations piece. And I won't really say anything about that other than a theme in Variations is where we play one melody at the beginning of the piece, and then the rest of the piece is elaborating on that melody and taking it and twisting it in different ways. And Martineau did a very interesting job of that. Overall, this program is on the quirky side. There's a lot of weirdness, a lot of humor that you're going to hear tonight. The two pieces that I'm doing with Emily are the Poulenc song set, Banalité. This is with text all in French, and that's why we printed out text for you guys, so you can kind of have an idea of what's being sung. I tell all of my singers that I work with, and I work with maybe 20 singers a week, usually during the school year, the most important thing is the text. The most important part of what you do is not how pretty your high notes are, it's not how well you can sing this or that or memorize your music, it's communication of the text. That's the most important part of vocal music, because the music is there to serve the text. The composer wrote the music, but somebody else wrote these words that you're going to hear tonight. Now, in the case of the French set, the poet was a French poet named Apollinaire, and he's a well-known surrealist French poet. So the text is actually kind of strange. Some of it makes more sense than others, and some of it also has humor. So, and it's up to you whether you would like to try to read the songs before we perform them, or if you want to read them in the moment as it's going by. So, but we encourage you to get an idea of what it is we're singing. One kind of example of one thing about the composer Poulenc is he liked to write things that sound like mistakes in his music. That's not to give us an excuse to make actual mistakes, but he writes some really funny sounding things. They usually come up in as funny pitches and chords, but my favorite example of this is actually in this song set, and it's the fourth piece, Voyage à Paris, where the piano has this cheesy, intentionally cheesy introduction, this waltz sounding and at one point there's a measure of rest where the pianist just stops and the music sounds like the pianist just got lost or can't remember what's next, and then he starts up again and then the singer comes in. So I think, well, yeah, once you hear that, you'll remember me talking about it. It's pretty funny. One of the reasons that I chose this French set is for the last song, Sanglot, which is French for sobs. It's one of my favorite pieces that Poulenc ever wrote. It's just an absolutely gorgeous piece of music to me, and I know you'll hear that. The text is a little confusing. It's very broad themed, and again, the poet was a surrealist poet. But I think I've included two versions of that poem in this thing because the only manuscript of that poem, Sanglot, was written on the back of a weather report card thing that the poet he jotted it down, and it looks all strange. You've got text hanging over on one side, and you've got some lines here, and then it's okay, where do things go? And people have kind of did their best to put it in the order that they thought Apollinaire wanted it. But when you actually rearrange some of the lines of text, it makes better sense. It's almost like there's two characters and two parts of a conversation going on simultaneously. So that's just for your own curiosity. The Nash Menagerie is named for the poet who wrote the text of this set, and that is Ogden Nash. He was an American poet, really famous for his short verse and writing just very short, mostly humorous poems. And he wrote a lot of animal poems in this vein. If you haven't heard of him or read any of his poems, I would encourage you to just do a quick Google search of Ogden Nash animals, something like that. So you'll hear a few of them tonight. We hesitated in giving you the text because it kind of, the punchline happens in real time, right? And if you've read it, but that's okay. So hopefully you'll enjoy it in the moment as well. But I'll give you another example of some of his his poems. So he has one called The Eel, and the poem goes like this. I don't mind eels, except as meals, and the way they feels. And that's it. So one thing he's known for is the silly ways that he forces rhyme into the text by sometimes making up words. I'm not going to attempt another one because my memory will probably fail me tonight, but there's some good ones out there, and you're going to hear some tonight. One of Emily's favorites is during The Caterpillar, where Nash rhymes, oh boy, let's see, chrysalis with whistleless, as in speechless, songless, whistleless. So another silly moment. The final piece so you have permission to laugh during those songs. I just want to make that super clear because they are pretty hilarious. I will probably laugh as we are doing them. The last piece we're doing is going to be with all three of us, Christoph, Emily, and I. And Jake Hagee is a fairly well-known, living, working American composer. He's written an opera that's really popular. And as we were putting this program together, I was like, okay, well, we need a few pieces with all three of us. Like, ideally, that would be the whole program. Well, it turns out there's not a lot of music written for piano, cello, and mezzo-soprano. But I did stumble across this piece and was immediately captivated by it. Just the musical content is really captivating, really interesting, and moving at times. The poet, Laura Moorfield, her mother was a pretty accomplished poet that was friends with Jake Hagee, but Laura, the daughter, was kind of a more amateur, on-the-side writer. But she was diagnosed with terminal cancer at one point, and she wrote a lot after that, reflecting on that. And the text that you'll hear tonight from that is her kind of approaching the end of her life and asking questions of how to deal with that. Do I say, the set begins with her asking, sometimes I feel like I should start saying my goodbyes. And then later on in the set, she asks, well, is that giving up? And then the second song of that set, which is called The Warrior, is after the yoga pose, Warrior One. And she goes on to talk about, well, the warrior keeps her back leg strong, facing the enemy. So asks the question of, well, maybe I should face death with a little more resistance and courage and not give up. And then the last song is just kind of a absorbing and reflection of nature and the beautiful imagery that she has to take in. So I hope you'll enjoy that last set as well. I'm going to go out and bring out my first partner. Thank you again for being here. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you after the show.
Tant de tristesse plainir, prirent mon cœur flâner désolé. Quand las j'ai reposé dans les sapinières, le pas des kilomètres, avant que râlait le vent d'ouest. J'avais quitté les jolis bois, les écureuils sont restés, la pipe sévère faire des nuages au ciel qui restait pur obstinément. Je n'ai convié au consacré, sinon une chanson énigmatique, à tout bien résumée. Les prières fleurant mes plaies, attiraient les abeilles, et mes pieds endoloris fournaient les myrtilles et les éreilles. Tourment marié, nord, la vie c'est tour, on a fort c'est tour, la vie mort, l'amour. À belle dent, voici nos mains que la vie fit esclaves. Et mon amour, c'est ton corps, et mon amour, il va assez vont toutes choses, arrachez donc le vôtre aussi. greeted by a boomerang to zestful, tangy kangaroo meringue. Kangaroo, kangaroo, be grateful that you're in the zoo. Oh, kangaroo, kangaroo. I find among the poems of Schiller no mention of the caterpillar. Nor can I find one anywhere in Petrarch or in Baudelaire. So here I sit in extra session to give my personal impression. A caterpillar, as it's called, is often hairy, seldom bald. It looks as if it never shaves, when as it walks in waves. And from the cradle to the chrysalis, it's utterly speechless, songless, weird. want to start this project early because there are so nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, parents, friends, who and there is also and always other times the world